India, ladies and gentlemen, stands as the hub for global capability centers, housing over 1,400 such centers that employ nearly 1.4 million professionals, making up a significant 25% of the country's technology workforce. Projections actually indicate that by 2026, the India GCC count will soar to 2,000, employing 2 million professionals skilled in exponential technologies. This growth trajectory is expected to generate revenues of $60 billion, further cementing India's position as a powerhouse for GCCs and tech-driven employment. Lastly, GCCs have been focusing their efforts on enhancing their services in the following domains: technology innovation, data analytics and insights, cybersecurity measures, agile work models, talent development, and customer experience enhancement. This GCC Summit 2024 will bring together professionals from various industries to discuss and exchange ideas on advancing this sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly thrilled to have someone incredibly special for our keynote address. For this, ladies and gentlemen, we are truly thrilled and delighted to introduce to you and invite Mr. Anil Kumar Sagar, IAS, Principal Secretary, Department of IT and Electronics, Government of Uttar Pradesh.
To attract GCCs to UP, we have been offering fiscal incentives through our policies. As government, we reimburse about land costs of about rupees 50 crores. We provide capital subsidies to companies of rupees 50 crores and also give them operating grants of about rupees 20 crores to cover their expenses related to rent, bandwidth, cloud, and the like. There are a few more subsidies which we give. But besides that, we have done away with a lot of archaic rules and regulations. You know, India has always been said as a country which has a lot of red tape. We wanted to do away with a lot of red tape. So in the last 2 years, we just abolished about 500 rules and regulations. And UP now ranks number 2 in the ease of doing business rankings in India. Our Chief Minister gave us a target to make UP a $1 trillion economy. We believe that we are on the right path, and when India becomes a $5 trillion economy, UP will achieve its target to become a $1 trillion economy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hearing me out. Jai Hind.
Up next, a dynamic panel discussion that tackles the complexities of GCCs. We'll explore diverse perspectives on cost, value, transformation, innovation, and more.
Mamta, coming to you, HSBC is one of the widest centers in the network. How do you bring about innovation and collaboration across the network?
One thing we are very clear as an organization is each of our GCCs, we bring in our own advantage, uniqueness, and we don't want that to get diluted, right? The strength of our GCCs actually lies in our diversity. And then we leverage on kind of each other's strength. But yes, great opportunity on innovation and collaboration. And very quickly, if I can talk, the one, I think, myth that we always continue to dispel in the organization is innovation is not equal to technology. But innovation is much more than technology, and technology is just an enabler.
We continuously sort of believe that having talent that can really bring agility in the way you bring about changes to the organization. But I think the way the pace of change is going on and the way businesses are getting integrated, what data can do for you, what operations can do for you, what we've realized is the model to go after is actually a Stonehenge model. It's not really a T model anymore. We all grew up with this aspect of having a very strong talent pool, right? That's how we've all operated. But I think we as an organization are realizing that it is also important to realize that pool of the talent is not probably the way to go, but to be able to learn to operate in the river of talent. The talent will come in, talent will find out more better opportunities to move on as well. And so how do you then institutionalize your knowledge, governance, in order to operate in the river of talent? So those are the two ways in which we think about bringing the tech-first mindset
Our next speaker, Amit Shetty, co-head of commercial leasing at Embassy REIT, will take us on a journey to explore how workspaces are evolving for the modern workforce.
We started our GCC story in about 2010. A large American retailer came to us and wanted to set up a small shop in Bengaluru. We thought that it's a great story, a great industry to be present in. We actually started this as an incubation facility for them. Right, today, they employ about 10,000 people in our portfolio. Similarly, one of the largest banks globally also houses about 10,000 employees in one of our parks. So what we're trying to build essentially is a platform for GCCs to engage and do their core businesses while we take care of all the real estate, the infrastructure needs that is required for these GCCs to own and operate in the country. The reason why I wanted to picture this is for entrepreneurs sitting in this room, we are ready with truly world-class, amenities and office infra so that, you can go about doing their core business, which is your GCC business. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity, ET.
The Global Capability Center has played a major role in the leasing landscape of the country. India historically has been a market of about 45 to 50 million square feet of office absorption year on year, but GCCs have contributed significantly to this absorption. Last year alone, I think India absorbed about 62.4 million square feet of office space, and I think from our portfolio perspective, today GCC accounts for about 64% of the total footprint that we have. So all in all, GCC is a very important component of our footprint. Not only our footprint from a revenue perspective, but also GCCV has played a very important role in the brand recognition of India itself on the global stage. Global Capability Center, I was reading somewhere that about 45 to 50 million square feet of office spaces will be absorbed by GCCs alone in the next 2 to 3 years. Currently, there's about 1580 GCCs in the country, and we're anticipating that to grow to about 2,000 GCCs. The current employment through these GCCs is about 1.6 to 1.7 million. That will take to about 3 to 4 million, employment. So all in all, I think GCC is really poised in the country, and we are just at the tip of the iceberg. And honestly, a lot of the mid segments across the country will navigate towards India on their GCC story to hire, talent as well as take advantage of the cost arbitrage that India provides on the GCC front.
We want to attract more and more companies, basically MNCs, to set up shop in Uttar Pradesh. We are increasing our physical infrastructure. A major international airport is coming up in Noida, and infrastructure development is taking place, I think, let's say, in and around Noida in a big way. Also, UP has designated 18 cities as smart cities in which infra development is going on. We not only want to improve ease of doing business, we also want to improve ease of living in our state. I think this multi-pronged strategy can, attract a lot of GCCs to set up shop in Uttar Pradesh.
Up next, Srini Krish, President of Global Services at Fiserv, unveils cutting-edge innovations transforming global capability centers.
Look, I think it starts with business context, right? I mean, innovation cannot be in silos. It cannot be in isolation. You can't, lock a bunch of people and say, go innovate on fintech, right? It has to be very much tied into the business strategy. Our chairman CEO says this every day. He says, we innovate on behalf of our clients. That's it, period. We don't innovate to be a better company. We don't innovate to make more money. We don't innovate to beat our competition. We innovate to make our clients successful. As long as we continue to innovate to make each of our clients successful, the company gets successful. So for you to do that, you have to have the context of the client,
Yeah.
right? So, that's a long journey, and I can talk about that very briefly, but, prior to the pandemic, we had the big hole, right? You're sitting 7,000 miles away. How do you have the context of the business? How do you have the context of the customer, right? Pandemic changed it for us. And the way it changed it is we were able to bring product ownership and product management roles to India.
The next session tackles building resilience in global capability centers. Industry experts unveil strategies for proactive risk identification and turning disruptions into advantage. They will also share the secrets that keep GCCs operational no matter what comes their way.
Technology has become core to everything that organizations are doing today, whether it's internal, external, customer facing, and a bulk of it, and we don't realize it, is actually sitting in India, in the GCC, where they are working directly as well as working with the ecosystem that exists today, right? Whether it's third-party service providers, whether it's startups, etc. So I think, as a percentage, I don't have an assessment saying how much of it would actually be core technology or digital. But today, at least in global terminology, when we work with clients, there are very few engagements that we do globally for our clients which don't touch their GCC.
I think GCCs have had an amazing journey over the last few years. Part of it was driven by the increased ask that were placed on them given the COVID environment, the amount of digitization that was expected to go through. Then, if you see just in terms of numbers, if you look at the overall IT industry growth over the last couple of years versus GCC growth is higher overall, though the base is smaller. But I think we're continuing to see global organizations invest in building capabilities or bringing them back in-house for various reasons. One is flexibility. The second is, as you are going up the value curve, you're trying to bring in more mid-office and front-office functions where you need better control, there is IP involved, etc. And, also having seen the success of the larger organizations, we see more mid-sized organizations now actually looking at GCC setups as they become more and more global, right? So I think overall, from a GCC perspective, there has been a significant focus in investment from various players.
Next up, a panel of experts who are discussing remote work, agile methods, and global leadership in a changing business landscape.
I think what is most important is that GCCs have led the way in creating those modules by creating, whether it was remote work, multi-city operations, multi-geography operations, that allowed them to attract talent from global perspective. And what is now going on is we should, I think, forget about one hybrid policy. We have to focus on each company, sometimes even each function, having their own policy and then having an overarching policy for hybrid. We have seen growth in real estate. If I were to answer your question, we've seen growth in this space because each company is looking at it differently. Like I said earlier, the question was, what are the factors that we need to attract employees back, right? Because 60% of the people said that, or firms said that coming back to office is important for productivity. What they did not do was they were not looking at what were the factors that boost the performance of the employee, right? And that is something that companies have started to look at, and they have started incorporating those changes. This is going to change as we go forward progressively. It will change the way companies will look at their real estate. It is not going to be just a workspace, but it is going to be an enabler where you will bring in people together for trainings, for one-on-one collaborations. Of course, they can continue to work, because of the extensive technology that we have, they can work from anywhere. But you will need touch points, regularly to ensure that there is a culture that is being built.
Okay, so as a services player that serves GCCs, we've been doing it for a while now. But lately, the evolution of the business has demanded certain different things. There is a need for agility. There is a need for reskilling. There is a need for contemporary cutting-edge skills. Right. All of the programs that probably were mentioned, Walmart, in terms of a hybrid sort of an approach to online and offline and omni-channel, etc. Each of these demand skill sets which are probably not available in the market, from the get-go. One approach is, of course, you search for them out there, but I don't think that would exactly cut it. You also need to reskill the people that are brought on board. I mean, you need to have the right kind of raw material to work with. But then through structured programs, and we do it sometimes in conjunction with the GCC themselves. We structure, how shall I say, mentorship programs to build in other contemporary skills. We also run academy models of our own. So those are approaches that are taken. The way you build in agility into the model is another important thing, because I work with firms, large, small, mid-size. Every partner firm has a different sort of an approach when it comes to turnaround, bringing skilled people on board. While we don't say it very openly, turnaround times are very important. And that agility that one at the GCC in India demonstrates to the parent HQ, that matters on future investments that come. So if India is able to demonstrate that they turned around the last program in a matter of weeks rather than months, that goes to your credit, and the next program comes to you as well. And that is how the GCC ecosystem in India has grown because of that.
A number of GCCs enter India for various reasons. However, today, the reasons are very different. Firstly, the ability for GCCs to hire talent, the talent that is technologically advanced, scalability of the talent in the country, government's initiatives on infrastructure development, and developers focus on building good quality real estate of global standard. I think the most important factor would be the demographic capital of the country, which is bound to increase multifold over the next 3 and 4 years, making India the largest source of tech talent.
GCCs have become the innovation powerhouses that they are, considering that they're contributing about 1% of India's GDP today. We've seen this very closely at Anlage over the last 30 years. When they started as captives, they were cost arbitrage plays. Then they moved on to being called GICs, and they were skills arbitrage plays. And today they're called GCCs, and they move up the value chain, and they are innovation arbitrage plays. So the word I use, innovation arbitrage, is because they're driving innovation programs for the world from India. They're driving transformational programs. Now, how they got here is very interesting because of certain focus areas. They focused on quality. They focused on speed, cost of operations, of course, hiring the right kind of talent, the speed with which these people were brought on board and retained. They also mapped the parent organizations very well. And I think at the end of it all, plain old Indian ingenuity as well.
Up next, a fireside chat on scaling sustainability and profits together for GCCs. Experts share how to win for both business and the environment.
Sustainability is a huge driver in today's business scenario. I mean, for us as a company, while it's not a mandate from any of our clients yet, but we do see it as a prime driver of demand generation when we want to work with responsible corporates abroad, and abroad as well as India. So the single biggest driver is how sustainable are you in your day-to-day operations. Now, when I say sustainable, it doesn't necessarily mean green energy. My idea of sustainability is a business which can work continuously in the future, which our kids can manage, which is not depleting natural resources and which is not damaging the environment. So part of the work that we're already doing is on the environment basis. But how do we integrate innovation into our day-to-day operations so that we are sustainable across the value chain? We are investing a lot on technology. We are investing a lot on talent. ESG and sustainability does have a dearth of talent today, but we are inculcating and developing a lot of talent. And lastly, we are taking all necessary measures to ensure that a renewable energy project does not impact biodiversity where it's installed. It does not have a negative environmental impact. If we can manage that, then we are already solving the green energy problem by itself.
Just brilliant. Net zero workforce of the future. That's brilliant.
Intersection of sustainability and profitability, that's its pivotal point. I think there are 4 avenues that I can think of. One of them is more and more companies are looking towards integrating sustainability in their ultimate organizational goals. That speaks volumes about the dedication that these companies have towards more sustainable measures. Number 2, I think a lot of companies are now focusing on energy optimization and efficiency improvement. They believe in this motto of reduce, reuse, and recycle. I think that will start seeing a lot of heavy lifting in the industry here on. Number 3 is integrating renewable energy into your use cases, right? So that's something that has started making commercial sense almost 5 years ago. You have different business models and different technologies that you can adopt into your day-to-day operations, and not only abate your carbon footprint by using green electrons, but also optimize your costs from almost 20 to 40%.
The next panel unveils how GCCs are leveraging cutting-edge tech like AI and data analytics to drive innovation and agility. We'll also discover how these hubs of excellence are transforming companies for a digital future.
Crisis, in a way, is part of our day-to-day life. But the real crisis collectively that hit us, or we all witnessed when the pandemic hit us about a few years ago. And that is when we all collectively came together and as a country and as this GCC fraternity provided the technology resilience, the talent resilience, the thinking resilience to the global parent organization in terms of what is the art of possible when it comes to dealing with crisis-like situations and coming out of it. Whether it was overnight assembling all the systems and provide for remote working, whether it was to deal with supply chain kind of issues, whether it was to make sure that our employees who were, let's say, traveling outside India and they have to be brought back for their safety purposes. A variety of things that we really went through during that time, and those were the different types of crises that we really managed very, very well.
Up next, experts discuss how to build future-proof talent in GCCs. They also shed light on how to develop skills, nurture leaders, and balance global with local needs. Up next, a deep dive into the future of GCCs. This panel discussion explores how GCCs are evolving from cost centers to strategic partners, driving innovation and business decisions.
Research shows that when you set up a GCC for a cost arbitrage purpose, and if the cost arbitrage is, let's say, 100 rupees, the economic benefit that the GCC delivers to the parent company has been shown to be 6 to 8 times, so 600 to 800. And that's an extremely important element. And with digital transformations happening, what we're seeing is headquarter companies are also thinking about creating some of these capabilities internally within GBSs or GCCs and not completely outsource. So if you see in 2013, of all the GBSs set up, 300 plus were set up across the world, 42% of them in India. The service outsourced delivery centers, they were just about 100. So 3 times more GBSs were set up than actually service delivery outsourcing centers.
And that's a wrap on the 2024 ET Now Global Capability Centers Summit, co-powered by Embassy REIT. We hope you've gained valuable insights to navigate the ever-changing world of GCCs. Thank you for joining us.